What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we're talking about the Order Domain Cleric, and so if you are the OCD, the one that needs everything to be in its place, and if it is any other way, then, you know, the wrath of my deity is going to fall upon you. This might just be your ticket. So go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure that you are subscribed if you aren't, because a lot of people who watch this channel are not subscribed. So please don't be one of those people. Help us to reach our goal of 1,000 by the end of this year. Honestly, I think we can get there by summer with your help, but I need you to get me there. So also make sure that you click the bell so you're notified of all new videos that come out, and share the video with your friends. So the Order Domain Cleric is a very by the book, a very the law is the law, a very everything has its place, a bit of a stickler, I would guess is the best way to put this. And so this can obviously lead to some really cool role-playing options. Now, of course, on this channel and on this series more specifically, we don't really talk about the flavor of characters because I think that you all can make some amazing characters using this. We talk about the mechanical aspect of this, and today we're going to see if being the stickler for the rules and following all the rules is what can lead to being a really effective cleric. So let's find out. So, of course, first of all, we look at our expanded spell list, and we actually get 4 new spells here that are not on the cleric list, but otherwise it's a lot of really good spells that were already on the cleric list. So this is not a bad spell list at all. It's actually got some pretty good ones on here, but there are a couple of duds that that I probably wouldn't use all that much. Something like Heroism, you know, it's not my favorite spell in the world. There's a couple others that are just okay, I guess. Overall, this is an 8 out of 10 spell list, though. I think it's pretty nice. It's got some really good options. Slow, especially, is a really great one right there next to Mass Healing Word. I love seeing those on the same spell list, and that's absolutely fantastic. So 8 out of 10, I think, is a more than fair ranking. At level 1, we get a couple of features, and we start off with some bonus proficiencies, and we actually get heavy armor proficiency, as well as 1 skill, either intimidation or persuasion. This is really good, right? Obviously, I love having heavy armor proficiency. I love being able to, you know, stand there and take hits and draw fire off of my, you know, a little more frail companions. And so having heavy armor can definitely help with that. And these are 2 very useful skills. Now, they are both charisma-based skills. So, you know, your charisma may not be the best. You may want to consider taking a higher charisma than usual on this. But overall, really interesting. I think this is an 8 out of 10. I normally give an 8 out of 10 to heavy armor, just proficiency in general. The additional skill is nice, but where it's not a wisdom-based skill, how often is it going to make a huge difference? That's, you know, at low levels, not a huge amount. It'll help as you go, but I don't think it's worth necessarily bumping it up 1 more slot. At level 1, we also get Voice of Authority, and this allows you to, when you cast a 1st level or higher spell on an ally, so probably a healing spell, you can actually get one of them to choose to use their reaction to make an attack. That's pretty cool, right? Being able to choose. Now, obviously, this could also be something like Bless, where you are buffing them and you get to choose 3 targets, right? You could choose any of the 3 to make an attack. So if 2 of them are just a little bit out of range and, you know, the Barbarian has already gotten up there, you could have them just make an extra attack. So this is pretty nice. Now, you can choose to have them do it. It doesn't force them to make the attack, so it's not always going to be useful, but most of the time, if you get a free attack, you're probably going to take it unless there's another reason to use your reaction. I wish that it didn't make the creature use its reaction. That's the only thing that really holds this back, because if it was just free, you know, then you could still do attacks of opportunity. You could still do whatever it is that they need to do this turn. But instead, you have to burn your reaction in order to do this. I think that's a little more costly of a feature than what I was hoping for. It's not the worst thing, but it is a little more costly than what I would have liked. Overall, this is still a 7 out of 10 feature. It's useful, but it could sometimes gum up the action economy that players are going for. At level 2, we of course get our unique channel divinity option, and this is called Order's Demand. Now, it's very simple in what it does. It's a 30-foot radius. You use this and they make a wisdom saving throw. If they fail, they are charmed, and you can choose to make them drop whatever they are holding. That's cool, right? Being able to have a 30-foot charm is really nice, especially already at level 2. Level 2 is really early to be getting something that's this effective, and charm is a nice condition, right? It's not the end-all be-all type of thing, but it's decent, right? Being able to make them drop something is also nice. You know, you probably will want to be up in their face if you're trying to pick up whatever it is that this thing is dropping. But you can still get up in something's face, or, you know, a bunch of lackeys are starting to surround you. You blow this and they all drop their weapons, and then they've all got to go pick them up. So this definitely has its uses. I definitely can see using this, you know, more than once, as we've seen with some of the others. It's you know, you'll use this once in a blue moon. You'll probably use this a little bit more so. I do think this is a 7 out of 10 feature. I don't think it's insane, just because you can, you know, use spells to charm creatures. It doesn't necessarily cause them to drop anything, but I do think this is a pretty good feature overall. 7 out of 10, I think, is more than fair. At level 6, we get Embodiment of the Law, and this is an interesting feature. It basically allows you to quicken enchantment spells whenever you cast them, as long as they have a normal casting time of 1 action. Now, you can do this wisdom modifier times per day, but so now if they have a 1 action casting time and are on the enchantment school, you can now cast it as a bonus action. The first thing that comes to my mind with this is something like Bless, because now you have a bonus action. You're targeting 3 creatures, and your Voice of Authority would now also go off, allowing an ally to make an attack. This can all happen in one go. There aren't many enchantment spells that you would normally cast on your friends, so Bless is really the best option that I have as far as that goes. Now, does that mean that there are other ones that would also work? Yes, Tasha's Hideous Laughter would be a great one to cast as a bonus action. You know, it frees you up to cast something like Toll the Dead as your action, or if you have a better 1 action cantrip that you would like to cast, there's plenty of options, right? There's plenty of really good cleric options that you can definitely do. Sacred Flame, another really good one. So that frees up your action to do that. You also then could make a weapon attack, which will be improved here in a couple of levels with Divine Strike. So it opens up your options a lot, and there are some really good spells on the enchantment list that are awesome qualifiers for this. Make sure you look over the enchantment spell list, because there are some spells on there that probably would surprise you that they are enchantment spells, but they're really good though. The enchantment spell list is really, really good, and it's definitely worth looking at. Overall, this is an 8 out of 10 feature. Very useful, especially with things like Bless, and you can definitely make quick use of this. You know, Bane can be a bonus action. Bless is a bonus action. There's a ton of really, really awesome spells that would be amazing cast as a bonus action, and this just does that for you. So at level 8, we get Divine Strike, and so this basically just allows us to add a little bit more extra damage to our weapon attack. It's 1d8 psychic damage for now, and that'll go up to 2d8 at level 14. This is an 8 out of 10 feature, as always, across the board. And then at level 17, we get Order's Wrath, and this is another extra damaging thing, but it relies on us using Divine Strike. So what this does is whenever we hit a creature with our Divine Strike and deal some extra damage there, we actually can curse the target until the start of our next turn. In that time period, if that creature is hit with an attack by one of our allies, then they take 2d8 extra psychic damage and the curse ends, in which time this feature just recharges. So it recharges every turn. You can do this once per turn. So you can't do this to, you know, 3 different enemies at once if you had picked up a bunch of extra attacks or anything, which you can't. If you did level 17, you can't have extra attack. But if you somehow found a way to do something like that, then you would not be able to affect more than one creature. It's just the one creature. This is a decent feature. However, The only problem is that we are relying on weapon damage on a cleric. Most of the time, clerics are going to want to focus on their spells, and this makes you use a weapon. So you're going to be doing probably a lot worse damage with this than you would with a spell such as Toll the Dead. Even as a cantrip, Toll the Dead's probably going to do a lot more damage than even just your weapon attack, which is 2d8 plus the damage die, plus this 2d8 psychic damage. You know, you're going to be dealing a lot more damage as long as the target has been hit before with your Toll the Dead. So I probably would go with Toll the Dead over this anyway. Not that this is useless, but it does force you into an option that a lot of clerics probably don't want to do. Overall, this is going to be a 7 out of 10 feature for me. It's decent, but it kind of limits your options, and it's an option that most clerics would want to choose anyway. So where does the Order Cleric rank? I don't think it's that bad, actually. I think it's a pretty nice kit overall. It's got some really useful things. A lot of it has to do with helping your allies, which is, you know, the whole point of being a cleric. And being able to allow them to attack on their reaction can be really nice as long as you're targeting the appropriate creatures. The one thing that comes to my mind is a lot of times when you're going to set up Bless, if you get the option, then you're going to set Bless up before the battle starts if you can get to it quick enough on the draw. This makes it to where you do not want to do that. You do not want to go ahead and set anything up. You want to make sure that you wait until combat has started before you do something like that. So it's a bit of a change of pace as far as what normally you would go for, you know, if you have the opportunity. If you see a fight's brewing, you're going to have to hold off on casting that if you're going to want to get the full use of your Voice of Authority. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You have options. You can still use them all. You still have them all to your disposal. Embodiment of the Law is pretty great. Being able to quicken spell, you know, at this point, hopefully 4 or 5 times per day. An enchantment spell that's usually an action, that's really good. You've got a lot of really good spells on that list that will definitely benefit a lot from going as a bonus action, and that frees you up to Toll the Dead or Sacred Flame or whatever you want to do on your action. Overall, this is a 7 out of 10 subclass for me. I think it's really useful. I think it's nice. I don't think it's busted or anything. I think it could come up a little bit as far as its power, but I think it's good enough for us to build one this week, and I think that you guys will enjoy that. So until later this week when we build one together, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Hope you stay safe out there and stay healthy, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.